In the last 20 years, Russia has embarked on a vigorous effort to try to corner as much of the world's uranium as possible. And in fact, they sent spies to the United States to infiltrate the world around Hillary Clinton to try to move her in the direction of approving of the sale of America's uranium to Russia. Eventually they succeeded, and Hillary voted to permit the sale of 20% of our uranium to a company controlled by the Russians. The process began shortly after 9/11, when Russia dispatched a dozen spies to the United States. You may have seen the TV series The Americans, about American families raised here and married here, working here, who were in fact Russian spies who had been sent from Moscow and who worked on infiltrating American business. That's a true story. And one of the spies actually worked her way up to being the chief financial officer for a company controlled by Hillary's chief fundraiser. And their effort was to influence Hillary on the issue of uranium and Russia. The FBI broke the spy ring in 2011, right around the time Hillary actually voted to permit the uranium sale. And a number of them, the spies, were indicted and convicted. 4 in particular were prosecuted by the Justice Department. Now, you probably never heard of this or heard of it in the last few weeks, but at the time, I didn't hear of it, and most people didn't know it was going on. It now turns out that that was deliberate, that Mueller at the FBI deliberately hid the fact of these indictments from public view. And the only reason for that would be that he did not want the uranium issue to arise because he knew about Hillary Clinton's vote in permitting the uranium sale. The 2 prosecutors on these indictments were Rod Rosenstein, who subsequently became the Deputy Attorney General, the post he now holds, and he's the guy who appointed Mueller to be the special prosecutor, and Andrew Weissman, who Mueller has since hired as his chief investigator, his chief lawyer, in his office as special prosecutor. So they're both cronies of Mueller. And instead of a trial, they arranged for a plea bargain in all 4 cases. So there would be no public airing of it. And the cases were disposed of very quickly, without any press release. Usually they'd have a dog and pony show and talk about how great the FBI was and how they tracked these spies and breaking it in public. In this case, there was no publicity. There was none of that. Just a quiet, secret court proceeding, after which the 4 spies were immediately swapped with others in Russia to get them out of the country. So there were no media interviews. There was not much, if any, media coverage. Now, the judge on this case that permitted this secrecy is a guy named John Schwang, Chaung. And Schwang was, his wife was an advisor to Michelle Obama, and Schwang was active in the Obama administration. Now, and he permitted this whole thing to unfold essentially in secret. Now, Mark Lambert, who is the most recent spy who was caught bribing, and a most recent indictment, who was caught doing bribes and kickbacks in the uranium scandal, who was arrested last week, has been arraigned, and the judge assigned to his case is none other than the same Schwang, the same guy who let this secrecy develop. So this entire episode is fraught with the cover-up, with trying to get this in and out and done before it could reflect badly on Hillary's effort to sell our uranium to Russia.